St. Andrew's School. I guess they're getting ready to sell that property. I believe it's owned by the county. But this is historic St. Andrews, a hot spot in Panama City, just over the bridge from Panama City Beach. You got Enzo's Pizza. They've got good food. Copper Tap Grill, really good. This is a new bakery that they just opened up. Dan's Pawn Shop, been here forever. Go pawn your stuff. Here on the left is Los Antiquitos. That's a popular Mexican spot. And then over here you've got some boat slips. Part of St. Andrews Marina. This big building is the shrimp boat. Big, huge building. Nothing really going on. It's been several things. I don't know what what's going to happen with it. Hunt's Oyster Bar, completely redone. No longer the small little hole in the wall. And then historic St. Andrews. We got Sunjammers over here. Luna Cafe, Slice House Pizza, St. Andy's Sports Pub, Captain's Table over here, record store, little shops, get your shopping on, quaint little kind of downtown district. On the corner here we got, used to be Thai Basil, now it's Basil Cuisine. On the left we got the tap room. And then we end at Oaks by the Bay. And we're going to show you the historic Beach Drive, which is probably one of the most popular roads in Panama City. We got Truesdale Park here on the left. The city's redoing that really nice. Here's more of the Oaks by the Bay. You can see the water right there. Small residential area, St. Andrews. Very popular place for locals to live in. And we're going to take a look. There's a sailboat, pretty large sailboat that's run aground from the high winds from Tropical Storm Bertha. So this boat's about, I don't know, 40, 50 feet, and it's been parked off of Beach Drive for the last year or so, hasn't had much movement, and the winds this week were probably, I don't know, 30 to 40 miles per hour with gusts in the 50s, so we had really strong tropical storm force winds. You got landmark condos over here. This is kind of the start of Beach Drive. We're going to make a right, and you'll see this is the road. This is Old 98, so Old Highway 98 before they built 15th Street, or regular Highway 98. You'll see the sign right there, Business 98. But this was the original highway that ran along the water, and this is where some of the first inhabitants of Panama City built houses. So on the left here you'll see there's a historic landmark. Let's see if I can get a shot. It's like an old log cabin type house, but you got really neat houses along this road. And a couple years ago, see, here's the water. We'll get a closer look at the water, but I'm going to show you the houses. A couple years ago there was a proposal to build a walkway on the beach side here. They wanted to build a boardwalk along the water. You know, good idea. A lot of people like to enjoy the beach and whatnot. But the idea was to take this road, which thousands of cars drive on every day, and they were going to, I believe, narrow it by 10 or 12 feet and lower the speed limit on it, I think, to 25. See, there's the boat. We're going to we'll get out and we'll get a good look at what's going on out there. But yeah, Beach Drive. So the boardwalk project, I guess, you know, they drew up plans and we're getting ready to, You can see these houses along here. I'll try and show some of those. But they were getting ready to, you know, break ground or use a grant from the state to do this $10 million project. A lot of the residents that live along Beach Drive here were against it because, you know, they technically own this waterfront side. This is their property. So the city wanted to take an easement and build a boardwalk. Well, a lot of people were against it. A lot of people were for it. When it came down to it, the DOT, the Florida Department of Transportation, I believe they did not want to give the rights to this road back to the city. And the reason for that, and I'll drive down here so you can see, is we have our fuel docks down here. And these fuel docks have been here for years. This is where a lot of our fuel comes in on barges. And so you get all your tanker trucks that come down here and pick up gas. You can kind of see them over here. So the DOT, I believe, wants to keep the road pretty much the same because of all the big semi trucks that use it. And I think that's the biggest obstacle right now. If the city can get the DOT to hand over the rights to the road, then I would not be surprised if you see them go ahead and redo Beach Drive. But there's the Chevron fuel terminal. They would have to probably move that terminal in order to build out on Beach Drive. All right, we're over here at Asbel Park. This is a new park that the city of Panama City, or Panama City, built after Hurricane Michael. Pretty nice park, very, very popular in town. It's a good spot for sunset. But we're gonna walk across Beach Drive. This is the road we just drove down. See, here comes, I'll film this fuel tanker that I was telling you about. But yeah, this is, you can see big houses right along the water. Really cool neighborhood. And you'll see right there, like, see that gentleman's on a bike. There's our fuel trucks going by. So yeah, they want to build kind of a boardwalk right here on the easement, which, you know, is a good idea, but I think the main concern was keeping it maintained, and then also, like, you know, making sure that the road is still accessible, because people, the speed limit's 35, but people are probably driving, you know, 45, 50 down this road because it's a pretty popular road to commute across town because there's no stoplights. And as you can see, it's a beautiful view. So this is the park. You know, no one using it right now. It's kind of hot out. But greetings from Bay County's historic St. Andrews Bay. These signs are type of thing never really make it. But the main thing we're going to take a look at is the boat. And after we look at the boat, we're going to talk about the ongoing sewage spills happening here in Panama City. So like they're working on the boat. I don't think they're not going to even attempt to. They're not going to attempt to pull it off. Maybe they are scraping some barnacles on the side, so it'll slide easy. There's the boat. You can see the water here is really shallow right now. We're kind of at a low tide. This is another derelict sailboat here. This one, I believe, I don't know if people use it, but it's just been sitting there. We got some debris from the storm that blew in. And then you see the natural sea oats protecting the land. Really nice. This goes down a mile or so. There are the fuel docks that we were showing earlier, and that's downtown Panama City. There's St. Andrew's condo, and this is the new Hotel Indigo, which is ran and owned by St. Joe Company. And then to the right of that is the Panama City Marina, which got destroyed in Hurricane Michael in 2018 and is still yet to be rebuilt. So no boat slips, no nothing. The city had to decide whether or not they wanted to take control of it or to hand it over to St. Joe. And I believe the city has retained control. So now we're doing bids to see who can come in and fix the marina up. So I know a lot of locals and people that use the marina and go fishing and all that, they're just eagerly waiting to have that rebuilt, because we had fuel docks out there and other amenities that were really nice, because you can launch your boat there. There's still a boat ramp. You can still launch your boat and run out. And you'll see that's Tyndall Air Force Base there, out there. And then if you look further in the distance out there, that's actually Shell Island. So a couple miles away is Shell Island, very popular tourist spot, Barrier Island. We'll be doing another video on that. And then if we pan across, you'll actually see that's all Shell Island. You can actually see all the boats going out to Shell Island. And then we get to the end of Shell Island, and there's the pass. There's the St. Andrew's Pass. Looks like maybe a freighter coming in. And then on this side, we've got St. Andrews State Park and start of Panama City Beach. If we go down, you'll start seeing condos. And you'll see the wall of condos. There's Treasure Island, seashells. Go down further, more condos. Those are condos on the bay. More condos on the beach side. Big condos at Grand Panama. Yeah, you can see everybody out enjoying the water. But yeah, the big story is this boat here. They're gonna have a little bit of work to get it off. Hopefully they can, get it pulled off and get it out in deeper water. I believe the owner was wanting to get it down to South Florida, so hopefully it doesn't have a lot of damage and stuff, and he can get it pulled off the sandbar. But yeah, it's good. Today is the first day where the wind is really kind of slacked off, so they got good weather to work, and we'll see what happens. We'll keep y'all updated. So next, the water. So if you live in Panama City, you probably hear about all the sewage spills that happen here, and it's unfortunate because some people don't realize how much untreated waste goes into our water. You can go to the EPA's website and sign up for their email notifications for whenever there's some sort of incident, whether it's a lift station failing, manhole overflowing, sewer line break, anything, because most of those incidents, when they occur, any wastewater ends up in these bays. And you look at the water and it's really nice. It's crystal clear right now because there's no wind. Really pretty water. But there's a water quality report that went out, and they've got an advisory right now for this water. It's above its allowed pollutants. parts per million. So I can't recall the exact name, but it's basically when there's fecal matter in the water. And like these people, they're out enjoying the water and they probably have no idea that there is an advisory, a health advisory. So it probably won't affect most people, but if you had a lowered immune system, anything like that, you know, you probably don't want to go out here swimming. The EPA will pull samples usually once a week. You can do a Google search for healthy beaches, Bay County, and you can actually look and see what the latest reports are saying. But that's basically it. We all want to enjoy the water here, and the good news is we have the local government has plans that they're actively working on to improve the local infrastructure, because like most municipalities, our sewage lines, our water lines, a lot of that stuff is 80 to 100 years old, and with the large influx of people moving into the area, it's just our infrastructure can't handle it. So they're going through from one end of town to the other and replacing the sewer lines so that it can handle more. And then they're going to be moving a lot of the lift stations and, you know, adding more lift stations so that, you know, it can handle the people. So if you want to pay more attention to that, like I said, you can go to the EPA website and sign up for their notices, and you'll be able to find out. They got these little signs up, kind of cool. And then on this side of the park, you've got Lake Caroline, which is a system of 3 different lakes. They're pretty small, but this is the first one. You know, it's connected into the bay, so you've got salt water coming in, so brackish water, and then it's spring fed at the top, so fresh water at the top, salt water at the bottom. Gives you nice brackish water, but a lot of people like to fish in here. There's all kinds of species of, you know, both saltwater and freshwater fish. You'll catch mostly saltwater down here and freshwater at the top, but really nice place to come. And as you can see, you know, you can come out here, there's nice shade, sit here in the shade, have your lunch, relax. Really kind of cool. I'll walk down here and I'll show you. Before Hurricane Michael, there was no real park here, and nobody ever knew about this place. And this was the claim to fame to this park, was the salt pots, the original salt pots used during our Civil War. So that's one of the original salt pots. That's what this area is known for. And you'll see, I'll come up here so you can see some of the history, because that's the salt works here in St. Andrews was one of the things that brought people here to work. So 1861, 1865, largest producers of salt in the South. You can go ahead and pause it and read through the whole thing, but this talks about the history, and it's pretty interesting. It's a historical landmark, so something to take a look at. So a lot of people that visit Panama City Beach, they stay out on the beach. You know, they stay at condos or hotels. They want to be on the beach, but we're seeing more of a trend of people coming here into town and getting Airbnbs and whatnot so that they can, you know, save a little bit of money and still enjoy the water. And it's only about a 10-15 minute drive out to the beach. And you've got St. Andrews, you've got downtown, lots of stuff to do in town. So We'll be doing more videos on different parts of Panama City as well as Panama City Beach. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe, turn on notifications. This channel is going to be growing rapidly, so make sure to keep checking on it, share it with your friends, put it on your social feeds. We'll have some cool stuff. Thanks a lot.